All right, welcome to day 6, December 6th, Advent of Code in Dart. I'm going to take a little risk today. Yesterday's was quite a challenge, I found, and based on reading other people's things, it was a challenge. So we're going to try and do this one live because I'm hoping there's some kind of pattern here. It seems like it's kind of been like really hard day, easier day, really hard day, etc., etc. So let's see what we got here. Okay, I'm just going to pause this real quick, not waste people's time. Read it on your own. I'll give you the TLDR right after. All right, and read through it. Again, please try these on your own before coming here if you can, if you're interested. They are really cool challenges, and this one doesn't seem too bad. I imagine the part 2 is probably going to really mess me up though, but we'll see. Maybe we'll be able to do both part 1 and 2 kind of like live. But basically, there's these boats, and we're trying to win a race, but it's not really a race on speed, it's a race on distance. And essentially, you have the power to hold down the button at the start of the race, and the longer you hold it, the further it's going to go. But the time you're holding it is also counting for the time in the race. So if you just held it down, say the race was 8 seconds or whatever, and you held it down for 8 seconds, or rather milliseconds in this case, we would use the whole thing, charging it up. It would probably go really far, but the time would end. So let's kind of get this together here. I'm just going to grab this example thing here, and we're just going to call it December 6th ground truth.txt, and we'll paste it in there. And we'll make a new file, December 6th a.dart. And I'll just go to my any of these ones here and just kind of grab my normal boilerplate. And we'll want to import this file, of course. And we want this to be December 6th ground truth and December 6th. We don't have that file yet, but that's all good. And we'll make a function just called, it is going to return something. It's going to return, I think we're just getting seconds back. So yeah, int, we'll call it solve. And I'm also just going to make a, this will be passing in our input. And we will return 0. And we want to make sure ground truth is set to true. And we will, of course, just run this file. This is December 6th a.dart, just to make sure we got something back. Okay, cool. So we have our sort of boilerplate set up here. Now, how do we want to get started? I guess we want to parse this data. So this is kind of what it looks like. I'm just going to also take a quick peek at what our puzzle input will look like. Oh, okay. It's not that crazy at all. Okay, I was expecting there to be like a whole bunch, but let's, I guess what we want to do is parse this, right? So let's figure out how to parse it. So we'll have basically our rows. It's only 2 rows, so we can kind of just split. I'll just call it like parts, and we'll just take our input and we'll split input dot, or sorry, it already is split because we're doing this read lines from files. So really we have like time is going to equal to input dot first, and we'll actually call it times. And first what we're going to want to do is let's just replace all with the time colon with nothing. And then let's trim it. So that'll just basically get us the 7, 15, whatever. Then we'll map through each one. So we want to actually split again on a space. We could do it that way. We could do, we've been using the D plus thing pretty often too. Let's just split on each of these, and then we'll map them all, and we're going to remember to turn back to a list, and we'll split on that, and we're going to go e.trim as well. So actually we can probably call this like num. These are the nums, and we want to do like an int.parse on that. Cool. So let's just print out what our times looks like. These, make sure that we did it right. There we go. Invalid character. Time colon slash. So we're trimming the whole thing. We're splitting on the space. We're mapping. What is invalid character? Time colon. Let's just get rid of the int.parse and see what actually this looks like. Okay, so we are getting that. That's strange. So we're getting 7, then we're getting a blank space, I guess because there's space between. Okay, we'll just do this with the regular expression then. So we would take this. We can really, the trimming won't matter anymore, and then we're going to want it to essentially take a regex, and we're going to use our d or /d plus dot all matches, and we'll pass in this. Really, we don't even really need this replace all now, I'm pretty sure. So let's just see if that actually does anything. So we got those. We'll just call these matches, and matches dot and I guess we could just map these and just go e dot group 0. And here is where we can do our int dot parse to actually convert it to an int. We'll do that. Okay, so let's just see if we get that back now. Oops, I forgot a closing thing. There we go, 7:15:30. And let's actually convert it to a list because it's currently an iterable. And we can call this one times. So we got times, pretty basic. Really, I don't actually need this replace all, I don't think, because it's only finding the integers anyways. Yeah. Okay, so we'll do that, and then we'll also get the distances. And that will just be input 1, the first item of it. And let's just make sure that that lines up. 940,200. Okay, cool. Okay, so we at least have some parsing now, which is good. Okay, so really what we're trying to solve is how many possible ways we can win. So like in the example here, you know, if you don't hold it at all, you're not going to win because it won't move at all. If you hold it for 1 millisecond, so we're talking about the 7, you know, the one that takes 7 seconds. If we hold it for 1 of those milliseconds, 1 millisecond is going to be used to charge it. The remaining 6 will be racing, so we would go a total distance of 6 millimeters. And this is what we're trying to beat. So I think we just need like kind of like a function that can loop through all the options. I guess all we need to return is the we'll call it like find number, find total winning options. And what we will pass in here is the time and then the int distance. So what we'd want to do is we would essentially have I think a for loop, and we'll call it I, as we normally do. And we'll start that at 1. There's no point starting at 0. We know that 0 can never win, unless there's somehow in the data like a -1, I guess, could technically win. But yeah, we'll have an int I equaling 1. We will make sure that I is less than or equal to the time. Equal to, I think that's going to be the same problem, because if you use your whole time, you're never going to actually win. So we can just do I less than time, and then I plus plus. And here we just have to kind of calculate how far it would go. So let's imagine, let's kind of look at these use cases here. We'd be starting at the second one. We hold it for 1 millisecond, then the boat will travel at a speed of 1 millimeter per second for 6. So what we can do is kind of make a thing called travel time. And we actually, just to make this really verbose, we can have something called charge time, right? So charge time is actually equal to I. So actually I could just call this charge time. And travel time is going to be equal to the time minus the charge time. And then basically from here, let's just start tracking let's have an integer of I guess we don't need to have to track that here. We will have to track something outside the loop, but let's figure this out. So we have the time, and then we're minusing the travel time, and then we can have something called distance, travel distance maybe, and that really is going to be the amount of travel time times the charge time, right? Because the more we charge it, the faster it goes. So that will get us our travel distance, and basically if the travel distance is greater than, I'm assuming we have to be more, not equal. So let's say if travel distance is greater than distance, we know we won. So let's make a integer called wins. It's going to be equal to 0. And we'll just increment the wins every time that happens. And then at the very end, we will return wins. Okay, so then we would have final result equals find total winning options, and here we just pass in time and distance, which I know we don't have yet because I realize we also need to put a for loop here for so we could either loop around times or distances, doesn't really matter, or we could do a for loop, but let's just do let's do a for loop for var or int I equals 0, I less than, we'll use this times dot length, they'll be the same, I plus plus. Result would be equal to basically times I, so the first one in that, distance is I. And let's just, before we get too ahead of ourselves here, let's just actually print the results as we go. Okay, so I'm getting, where else? I feel like I'm printing something else. Yeah, I am. I don't need that. 4, 8. So there's 4 ways to win, 8 ways to win, and 9 ways to win, according to this. 8 different ways to win, 9 different ways to win, and 4 different ways to win. Okay, looks like we're doing this right. So now what we want to do is actually, there's a few ways we could do this, but we could, because we're going to ultimately multiply these together because we're trying to find out like the combinations. So we could just kind of multiply as we go, I guess. We'd have to start at 1, and we'll just call this like combos equal. We'll start at 1 because we're going to be multiplying, and then really like combos is going to be times equal result. And then really what we're returning here is combos. Oops. So here we got 288 back, which seems to be the correct answer. Okay, so let's plug this into the real data. Just need to get my puzzle input here. We'll grab this. We'll make a new file called december6.txt and save that. And what I will do is just simply, oops, I like to keep this down here. We'll use, we won't use our ground truth anymore. We'll actually see what the result is. And hoping for the best here, because sometimes I'll get the right answer there and it won't work here, but I'm feeling pretty good. Yep, that's the right answer. You're 1 gold star away. Okay, part 2. I have a feeling it's going to be a lot harder. I'm going to pause it for a second. I'll catch you up. Maybe I'm missing something, but this actually doesn't seem that challenging. Basically, what they're saying is, oh no, there was a mistake on this this input data here. This is bad kerning. There's not actually. This is actually really one really long race, right? And we have to find out how many combinations there are. So I think we can kind of work with what we had. I'm going to copy this and just make my new file, december6b.dart. I hope I'm not missing something here, but I think this will be fairly fine. So what we want to do is still, use the same things. Let's just run this file for fun, just to make sure it's all hooked up right. Okay, so I think what we want to do now is we can kind of rework this. Times really is just going to be input.first.replace all, and we'll just first of all get rid of its time colon. We're just going to replace with nothing, and then we're also going to replace all spaces with nothing. And then we're going to do an int.parse on that. So let's just see if that is actually working. Print times, and I'm just going to comment all this out. We might use some of it and just return 0 so we can conform to the contract of this function. Okay, so now we get back this big number here, which, am I using my ground truth? Let's go back to ground truth. Just so we can make sure that it is, this number should be like 71530. Okay, cool. So same thing with distances, and actually we can just call this time now, and we can call this distance. And this we would just do input 0 as input 1, and let's just print out distance and make sure that that also worked. And it doesn't, because I have to also get rid of this and change it to distance, of course. Okay, so now we get 948. Okay, so really now I'm pretty sure we can just do final result equals basically this here, unless I'm completely missing something here. And we'll just pass in time, pass in distance, and let's just return the result. Why not? Total winning 71503. That, oh, okay, that is right, 71503. Okay, cool. So let's point this to our actual file and run it. Now, there we go. Now, I don't know, like, I think that's right. That's the right answer. Okay, cool. All right. You know what? Today was amazing. I feel good. I'm glad I took the risk to kind of just do it live and kind of walk you through the thought process. I know reviewing code after, maybe isn't as helpful for someone trying to learn Dart, and seeing kind of at least the way I think about it might be helpful. So try to do this again this way. But I imagine tomorrow is going to be like a huge pain in the ass based on the, sort of how it's been flip-flopping between easy and hard. But I hope you enjoyed this one, and we'll see you in the next one.